Powering on. Mic on.
Hey everybody, believe that I was just yapping without my headset on, so I don't know if anybody heard anything. Um, unless the audio came through my webcam, but if it did, it probably wasn't great. So, anyways, I'm here now. All I was talking about is we fixed the flickering in the pop-up numbers. Basically, I had to set that variable in our start instead of including it in the update loop. I don't know why it was going back after every update because it really shouldn't have changed, but that's how we fixed it. Anyways, let's take a quick demo of what we got here, and that way you guys can see it in action. Here we go. Got a cursor that we aim at. Got my guy, he can move. He does a little walking animation only while you're moving. You hit the enemies, and there are pop-up numbers. And the whole map isn't created yet. As you can see, you can go off into the distance here, and there will be nothing after a certain point. And I do want to stay alive for a while and keep this demo going so I can show you guys something, because I did go in and add more monsters. Oof. I also got rid of the little health pickup that I had just sitting on the stage because I was like, I'm done testing this. I don't need it to sit here anymore. And now sometimes when I'm testing stuff, I'm like, man, healing would be nice. Oh, and here we go. Our second enemy type has showed up 1 minute in. So now they're here as well. The enemies do slowly get stronger over time. However, it's not super fast at this point that they get stronger. So it's like it may not seem initially noticeable, but like especially um, with you leveling up and upgrading your weapons and armor and stuff, you're probably also going to become powerful at the same time they're becoming powerful, so it might not be as noticeable. Let's get some more experience. I did want to change the behavior of the pickups a little bit because I don't know if you noticed one of the experience stars stopped following me after I hit a certain distance away from it. And I kind of don't like that behavior. I want to do it to where once you trigger that it's going to follow you, once it's in your pickup radius, like I want to just have it like a toggle, like it's on and it stays on now. It's going to chase you forever. And the other thing I was thinking about is, the the damage numbers. That's good feedback that we've hit an enemy. Um, but there's no like reaction to it. And so what I want to do is I want to try and add a knockback to our attacks today that will push the enemy back just a little bit when they're hit by one of your attacks. So what I'm thinking is the different weapons are going to have knockback, and you may get like a default knockback value inherited from the character. So maybe there's some characters that just have a higher innate knockback than others, and then that way we can push some of these guys away from us. It'll make it a little bit easier for people that want to do like no move challenge runs because uh, if in the current state it basically, if you don't kill the monster before they get to you, they just rush you and your health gets deleted so freaking fast. Um, it's not fun. So what we need to do is add some knockback in here. So I'm gonna go to our player controller, and I'm gonna add a public float knockback. And now let's go into our add weapon. Where's my base weapon? Base weapon. I'm gonna say the knock. Oh, we need a new thing for it. Public float knockback. I'm gonna say knockback plus equals attached unit dot get component player controller knockback. And then when we make a bullet, so let's get our base bullet. Current bullet dot get component base bullet dot knockback. Oh yeah, that's why I opened this. Public float knockback. Now the weapon passes its knockback. Oops. Knockback in. So if our player has one knockback, all of our weapons have one knockback, but then we're going to have some weapons that have a little bit higher knockback capabilities, and then possibly that opens up us adding an item later that could like upgrade the character's total knockback if that's a build that you want to go for. Me personally, I caution against in games like this, if your knockback is too high, you'll knock the enemies out of the area of your attack. You then won't be able to kill them and until they walk back in, and sometimes that can slow down your progress because you want them close enough to pick up experience. With that being said, let's go into our base pickup controller. And I think what I want to do is I want to have a bool in range or is being picked up. I know that's really long, but still. And we're gonna is being picked up is going to always instantiate to false. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna set is being picked up to true right here. Why the autocomplete didn't want to add. So now when our distance is within the pickup radius, it'll just mark that to true. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, oops. Now if is being picked up, we're gonna do the move. So once you get within the radius, it turns that switch on, and then now that that switch on is on, it's always gonna move towards you. And what we're gonna do later on is we're going to make a magnet or a vacuum type pickup where we can just go through all of these pickups on the field, set their values to true, and then they all vacuum to you no matter where you're standing at, so that you're able to do that sort of effect. And then you also don't outrun your pickups if you're ducking and weaving. Just getting within your pickup range is enough to allow you to pick it up. So let's let that compile really quick. But before we run anything, now that we have a knockback value in our bullet, we need to do something with our enemies when they get hit. So enemy controller, let's see, on trigger enter, if it's the bullet, if the origin is not it takes damage, and now we need to do some knockback. Now we already have a function for enemy movement, and yeah, so it's just gonna move speed to the position of the player. I think we can modify this function a bit to do the opposite. So what we want to do is I'm gonna put in here a float speed. And then right here on find player, we are going to put in move speed. And then right here, speed. Now we can control what speed we're moving at. So right after damage, or maybe it's, yeah, after damage. That way, if your guy dies close to you, he stays close to you instead of getting pushed back and then dying far away from you. We can switch it around later if we want. But we're going to move. And we're going to put in the transform as still being the player. But we're going to put in negative collision get component base bullet dot knockback. So you're going to move negative towards the player, which is away from the player, equal to the knockback. I don't know if that needs parentheses like that, but whatever. Actually, I'm going to just get rid of those completely. That should be fine. And now, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give the player default knockback of, let's do something really high, like 10, so we can just see it happening. We're gonna know immediately because this should launch things, right? Because I'm thinking units, not pixels. But we'll see. Sometimes it just varies. And that looked like it did absolutely nothing. So, what is going on here? Let's actually, I'm gonna, oops, I forgot to take that out of maximized. But I want to, all right, /, let's look at its script. Its knockback is still 0. So for whatever reason, the knockback from the player did not get transferred into the bullet. And I think that's because the fire projectile is overwritten in the sword weapon. So let's let's do this. Public virtual void set knockback. And we're gonna do it just like this. And we're gonna say bullet dot, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna say base bullet dot knockback equals knockback, and then we're gonna put right here set knockback what? Oh, why the heck? It's not two words. I really shouldn't capitalize that. That's probably why I was getting thrown off. And I'm gonna pull up my sword weapon, and I am gonna go ahead and throw that in there. And then now if I want to overwrite the way that knockback is set, I can do that too. Some weapons, maybe we want it to multiply. Maybe your knockback is based on a different stat for some kooky reason. And let's go ahead and give it a shot. Okay. Alright, so it does look like they jerked back a little bit. That's actually not bad. I don't know how noticeable it is for you guys, but I can definitely see the enemy jerking back just a little. And I need to disable the component when they die. That was something that was on my to-do list, but I just remembered it right now because it just happened. Um, so let's see. I'm gonna say get component collider 2D enable false. So I think the component collider 2D is gonna catch all, whether it's a circle, a capsule, or whatever type of collider it is. So we shouldn't have that issue anymore necessarily. And then I think with our weapons, let's go in and check. So we checked our sword. Let's check our axes. Axe doesn't override the shoot function. Daggers do not override the shoot function. Hammers don't override anything. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so hammers don't do anything when you upgrade them, apparently. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna say hammers I think I want always to be slow, so no cooldown. Projectile feed doesn't even affect them, and definitely amount doesn't affect them. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna look at what did I even say hammers do on an upgrade. I think it should be area and I think it should be damage. If I remember correctly, but I'm gonna double check instead of just trying to remember. So on my hammer prefab, we have increased damage and area of effect. Okay. So what I want to do is damage. No. Yeah. Damage plus equals 0.2f because the damage is multiplicative, so it's like it'll be like 2.2 damage. And then I think I want to do AoE. Let's say 1. And that's good. And then, I wonder if we do, should we do, nah. I was thinking maybe the hammer should do more knockback as it gets stronger, but we won't worry about that right now. Okay, so yeah, amount and pierce on opposite levels. Staff also overwrites fire projectile. So let's go ahead and get this silly little set knockback. Should the magic missile really knock back though? Yeah, maybe just a little bit, just a little bit. It for sure should. So we're gonna grab this, put that in there, and then yeah, the sword's good. So eventually we're gonna have all these like little parts kind of piecemealed out into their own functions. But yeah, so um, then I'm gonna go back into my guy here, and I'm gonna just for funsies, we're gonna set the knockback to 20, and get in here and see what happens. Yeah, okay. It's a little it's a little jerky, but it's not terrible. Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, okay. Once he started dying, I could run through him, which is good. That's the behavior that we want. Um, so yeah, I think knockback should be good there. I am gonna lower this back to 10, and then I'm gonna go in and say my hammer that I think should knock back people even further. I'm gonna give it 10, so it knocks back that 20. And as its area of effect increases, it's gonna hit more guys and knock them back that distance. So that's good. That's gonna be okay. Maybe our daggers, because it's adding. We want them to have a little bit less knockback, and our staff, the magic missile, we want to have a little bit less knockback. Um, and then everything else can kind of be exactly what it is. And then some characters, maybe we'll have a bigger, more brutish character is going to have higher knockback, or somebody who's more of a wizard character that has less, or um, some kind of item that enhances your knockback abilities. So, one other thing that's kind of on my to-do list as far as like cleaning up little bugs and stuff is on my player controller. You'll notice the couple times we died, we kept getting scooted around. And so I think what I wanted to do, um, and first of all, the reason I think this is happening is because in my calculation of our movement, I am taking some of our speed and our move speed, and I'm adding them together, and then I'm multiplying that by the input. Um, and when we die, uh, the check for input still happens. It looks like, but our move speed gets set to 0. So you're still getting this really small amount that's coming from your speed brought over. And so I think that instead of setting our move speed to 0, there might be a better way to do this. So this is actually in our base battle unit, which is what both enemies and players inherit from. Let's see. Heal damage on death. All right. So instead of setting our move speed to 0, what I'm thinking is we get the component of the rigid body 2D, and then we're going to say no, I don't want freeze rotation. I want to what's it called? I'll know what it's called when I see it. Let's see. Okay, so there's this constraint for freezing positions. Constraints dot. Which degrees of freedom are allowed? Alright, so constraints dot. Well, maybe I'll just send it to the debug log. So I can know what that data actually looks like. Because I'm very curious. I haven't controlled those via code yet. So, but what I'd like to do is just freeze the X and Y of whatever it is. That way, there's no outside movement that really affects them once that's down. So let's go ahead and get ourselves killed right away. All right. Okay, it literally just said freeze rotation. Oh, maybe that's the because that's the one that's set to true on the player. Okay. Let's get the debug log out of here. let's see. Rigid body constraints dot freeze position. It cannot be used like a method. Oh, okay. So that's an interesting way to do it, but let's go ahead and oh, wait a second. Oh, okay. I think the main problem, do we have this for the 2D? No. So, oh, constraint 2D. The 2D is in a different spot. All right. Now, no one should be moving anywhere once a death happens. So let's go get ourselves killed and see what happens. Oh no. I did not I think what happened is it froze the position but unfroze the rotation. So let's go to freeze all. So those are like pre-made structures that basically you gotta choose the right one. Uh, I think that's why we do testing instead of making those assumptions. We anytime we're using something we're not exactly sure, just try it out. It'll be fine. I was also thinking about what if we had negative knockback on a weapon, so it would like knock them into us further. What an interesting weapon or upgrade that might be. And boom, now I can't move. At this point, I probably want to make a window asking the player, did they want to? Oh, I also should stop the clock. Wait, the clock did stop, but the enemies didn't stop. So when the player dies, enemies should stop too. Um, Alright, so it changes our state to dead, and then the time tracker doesn't go if the player's not active. Which I think what I really need to put in our enemy controller. Yeah, we could say that if player dot get component player controller dot state is not equal active, then return. And that should say enemies don't do shit if the player's not active. And then that way, when you revive or something and you're set back to active, they can all start moving again. So now, all movement on the screen should effectively stop once you die. Boom. None of my guys move. Clock stops moving. Everything's fine. Everything's right where it needs to be. We need to have like a little window that pops up now that we can say, you died. So so it'll be kind of like our level up panel here. In fact, I'm gonna just duplicate that to make things easy, but I'm gonna call it game over, and I'm going to scoot it over here so I know what I'm working with, and then I'm gonna put you died, and then in this panel I'm gonna go for the just make it all red. And this whole thing here where you have choices and whatnot, we're getting rid of that. Also, this level up manager script, we're removing the component, so that's not a problem. We're gonna have to make a script for this, and then let's make a new UI button, and we're gonna call this button quit. Let's move that down to here. And we'll just say quit on it. And I'm gonna duplicate, raise up a little bit. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I wanted to use something from my icon set. Oh, excuse me. On this second button, we're gonna have, I'm just gonna call it continue. And we'll put revive. Is that how you spell revive? I don't know. That doesn't look quite right to me, but I'm just gonna let it ride for now. And I'm gonna make this a green button. And yeah, I may put some more information in here, such as like how many kills you got, uh, how long you lasted before dying, and things like that. But I can really gonna worry about that later, cause I just want this to be just the window, and even then, I think that there is before I even put this window in or implement any code, I really want to have um, a start screen with like a proper, you know, click start, pick your level, pick your guy, and then you can play. So that when this game over screen runs and you click quit, it can knock you all the way back to the start screen. Um, so that way you go through that process again of picking your character and your level and everything like that. Um, So yeah, I mean the main thing I wanted to get done today was the knockback, and we did that. We did a few extra things, and yeah, so I think pretty happy with our progress this morning. I'm gonna keep working on this, and we'll have a full blown working game before we know it. All right, guys, have a great day.